can't be there for her no more. So what she doing is she's trying to cement her position in this petered out reality by trying to hook up with anybody that's not us. Anytime you have somebody that's talking stuff like, oh, well, y'all been talking this and talking that, and you ain't raising the kids and ain't raising that. Like, look at the history in that. You know what I'm saying? How is it that all of us original men, whenever we have a baby with a woman, right after we have the baby, it seems that we can't maintain a relationship? How is it just us dealing with that? I've been to family court. You know what I'm saying? I've been up in there. I've been taken there and all of that. But when I did the knowledge, I'm sitting in there looking at the people around me. All the people around me is original men that's being taken there by original women who has an advocate that's not either one of us. That's either a Jew or some other type of foreigner that has nothing to do with our interpersonal relationships. You gotta look at it like this, man. We all are come out of the generation of the deadbeat dad, right? Yeah. We always, but the deadbeat dad generation came from the latchkey kid generation. The latchkey kid generation came from the women's lib generation, where all of those black women in the 60s and 70s hooked up with this bitch named Gloria Steinem and Gloria Paglia, who created this whole thing about the women's lib movement, where they was burning their bras and all this bullshit, right? Then, once they start burning the bras and doing all of that, they convinced the black women that they need them, that the black women need to become independent and go out and start making their own money and stop supporting the men. But a generation before that, I don't know if any of y'all saw the movie Claudine. You'll see the movie Claudine. She couldn't be with a man, right, in her house and get no money. So she had to act like she was alone, i.e. she had to act like a widow. See what I'm saying? So now we bringing the whole Freemasonry thing into it. She had to act like she didn't have a man in order to get money from the government in order for her to be able to keep a man. From that era, right, we go from the white woman who's running out and getting jobs, right? Then what happened to the black woman? The black woman got to come now and raise the white woman's baby, right? So now you got all these white women that go out and they make movies about this, like Pretty Woman and Working Girl and all of this BS movies. Then all of the black women go in and they start raising the white women's kids. But then what happens to the black woman's children? The black woman's children, she got to give her children a head start, you know what I mean? Daycare, whatever. But all of those systems, Head Start, Planned Parenthood, all of that was created by a woman named Margaret Sanger, who actually was the understudy of a Nazi named Joseph Mengele. So what we're really talking about is the unification and the unification of white supremacist agenda, but we're also talking about the systematic incremental destruction of the original black family through the ignorance of the black woman. Because we've been in situations where I grew up and hearing that all my life. The black woman's the backbone of the family. The black woman's the backbone, the backbone, the backbone. But I'm saying, man, we got more than a spine in us, yo. You know what I'm saying? We got more than a back, see? We got a front, a side, a middle, a up, and a down. So if we giving her respect and constant, I'm not saying we shouldn't respect the black woman. I'm not saying that she is the problem. But what I'm saying is that she is the gatekeeper of this reality. Nothing in this reality exists or come into this reality without her permission. So really, we're all basically here as males. We're basically, in a sense, degenerate females. But we're the only ones that can get the original black woman to her fullest potential. So because she don't want to be the goddess no more, she want to just be low. Hey, what's up, y'all? Want to be cemented to the earth, and that's it. She's receiving a benefit from that, or what she perceives to be a benefit, but it's really killing us.
Any questions before?
I'm just gonna stand here to balance out the energy behind me.
Yeah, see, it's a black woman. See, I ain't just talking. Every so-called holiday that they following in the United States, not the United States of America, but the United States corporation that we're all in right now. All of those holidays have a significant occult meaning to them, right? Esoteric meaning to them, and financial meaning, right? Everybody know that Christmas is, Christmas, December 25th. But Christmas is actually not that. Christmas actually comes from an ancient pseudo-Roman holiday called Saturnalia. Saturnalia. Saturnalia is what they call the celebration of Saturn coming into the midheaven, right? Saturn is the 8th planet in cosmogony of planets, but it's also symbolic to your pineal gland. Because when you magnify your pineal gland, like let's say 100 and however millions of things, it looks
like
it's shaped exactly like Saturn or a flying saucer. So, whereas Halloween is a holiday called Beltane, right? Beltane basically was when we, as original people, lived in what they call shires or hamlets, things like that in ancient Europe or whatever, and we would do our rituals, symbolic rituals around that time to draw the energy down, as above so below. When the Caucasian came into power though, like now, Thanksgiving is called Samhain, Imbo, right? Right now we're in what's called Imbo. In Imbo, they call it Black Friday because the people that started creating the whole science, us, at the time we was called Gales, or you heard the term Druid before, right? Or you heard the term Celtic, you know what I mean? Or you hear, sometimes you see Irish people talk about the Afro-Celts. Afro-Celts are Moors from so-called Ireland, so-called Scotland, and all these different places that set up all of the science out there. So when the Caucasian started coming into power over here, he knew the power of the ritual. So specifically speaking, Thanksgiving, they had to petition the Moors that ran this government to be able to practice this. This is before Washington wrote a letter to John Hanson, the Moorish president that ruled America up until, let's say, 1791, and asked them, being that we were incorporating the federal government into our national body politic, national Republican form of government that was already here, he asked us, or him, if we would be allowed to practice a holiday, the holiday that we had already been practicing here. But he couldn't practice Imbo with us because he wasn't a Moor like the rest of us was. He wasn't native to this place. So what John Hanson and them said was, okay, you can take a derivative of this, and now this thing will be called Thanksgiving because you're giving thanks to us for allowing you to be here. Then what we'll let you do is what's up, brother? We'll let you take the symbolic bird of this empire over here. Before it was the eagle, it was the turkey. Yeah. Because the turkey, when you look at the knowledge of the bird itself, is a lot more noble than the eagle. Like eagles are very, I don't know if you ever done a nostrum as a bird, as an animal. Symbolically, they're very predatory and very nasty animals. You know what I'm saying? Like they fly real high, but they don't fly as high as, let's say, a falcon. You know what I mean? Which represents Heru. But the eagle, as it stands, represents Scorpio. You know what I'm saying? So whenever you see an eagle or whatever, you also looking at a scorpion. And in that scorpion, that represents, again, the 8th sign. You know what I mean? The 8 represents Saturn, but it also represents infinity. So whenever you take a holiday, or like we call them holidays, whenever you take these holidays that these people have, what they got to do is they got to siphon the energy of what it originally was, right? But then they got to keep the real knowledge of it to themselves, give you the fake version of it, and then feed off your energy as you support it. Then once you give all that money to the system, right, that is alive. You dig what I'm saying? You're feeding the so-called beast. When brothers and sisters talk about the beast this, the beast that, what they really talk about is the entity that makes New York what it is. New York is an entity. It's alive. It's not like it's just like a city. You know what I mean? It's not like it's just some shit that we're just participating into and that we're like just willy-nilly at the whim of it. We support it with the mental and physical and spiritual energy that we give it every day. So what's the face of New York? The face of New York is, you ever see the logo for New York when it has the Moor on one side and it's got the white man on the other side and it's got a sun in the middle? That sun in the middle represents Lucifer rising in the morning, right? But Lucifer is not the devil per se, and it's not the sun. It's actually representative of Venus, right? You know how they always say men are from Mars, women from Venus? Yeah. Because Venus and Mars are the two extreme polarity energies that the Caucasian person uses to break apart the black family. So we as men represent Mars, the females represent Venus. He represents the stroke in the middle that's trying to purposely keeping them apart and keeping them fighting each other.
Brother, I see it. Hold up that flyer real quick.
Oh yeah, man.
I want you to explain to us what exactly are you referring to? What is a black Nazi?
What is a black Nazi?
Black, that's the name of your next lecture. Just tell them real quick, when is it?
It's on December 2nd at LIU. That's a Sunday at 3:30.
Okay, now what is a black Nazi, brother?
This is a representation of what black Nazism is in this millennium. When I say black Nazi, I'm not saying that
a lot of people say.
Yeah, I almost had a fight about this the other day too, man, in the patty shop.
The street.
Hey, what's up, G? A black Nazi is any original man or woman that gives their mind, body, and soul
Yes.
to the concept, to the illiterate concept of white supremacy in the postmodern era. Say again, a black Nazi is anyone, black,
Mind, body.
Asian, Puerto Rican, anybody that's not considered Caucasian, that supports white supremacy to the point that they would kill another brother in the name of a pig, like right across the street.
Right across the street.
Zoom on it right
Let me
there.
zoom on it.
Zoom in right there. Yo.
That's what you call a black Nazi.
You see this? You see it's the black woman, right?
That's it.
It's the black woman with the white man.
With the white man.
Right, with the white man standing across the street, right?
That's the only light I'm gonna give him on the tape.
Right. But that's proving my point. That's a black Nazi. Because that sister, remember, the black woman is what brings the gender into this world. So if you could get black women to become cops that lock their own children up, right? And support a system that they know eats their babies every day. When I say eat their babies, I mean literally eat their babies every day. That means that you gotta go. Because you are bringing that type of energy into this reality, and we don't need that no more. So what?
That doesn't mean that we gotta sit on rooftops and shoot police tomorrow.
Nah.
What that translates to is just to say that that's not an energy at all that's gonna support our evolution at this time. So you gotta go. Like whether you disappear, whether you fade, however you choose to be out, you're gonna be out because it can't exist.
Here's another thing about Nazism. Nazism actually came out when you start doing the knowledge to how the Nazis started coming into power, right? They were working in tandem with the United States government, okay? This is fact. You could go online, you could get what's called a FOIA, a Freedom of Information Act, and subpoena all of the documents dealing with a thing called Operation Paperclip, Operation Mongoose, Naomi, NAOMI, which stands for Negroes are only momentary individuals. These are all of the products. King Alfred, Rex 84, all of these different things are outlets and projects that this government used way back in the late 1800s when they started realizing that we were falling out of power. When we fell out of power, right? The last treaty of Tripoli ended in 1830. That was the last treaty that we as international Moors had with each other, because we didn't fall to the white man. We didn't fall to the Caucasian man because we couldn't, because at the time he was a slave. And we know that because the word slave means Slovak, and there ain't nobody that's a Slovak right here. A Slovak is somebody from Slovenia, and Slovenia is in Europe. So when we was enslaving the Caucasian people in mass, okay? When I say in mass, I mean globally. We had a global slave trade, okay? In which we were selling these people constantly. But this destroys the black myth. I don't want to say, let me rephrase this. This brings the point of slavery down, because they want us to believe that all of us that represent original black people came over here on boats as slaves from Africa. That is physically impossible, because if that was the case, there would be nobody in Africa to this day. You mean to tell me that people, again, that were dying from the bubonic plague, who thought the world was flat, who couldn't cook and eat their food properly, whose greatest king lived in a barn, you mean to tell me that these people can get on a boat? Remember, they can't read, can't write, never seen a boat, nothing. Go on a boat, then go to Africa, another place they never been before. By themselves, right? Then go get on that boat, get big 9-foot Africans, put chains around their neck, put them on a boat, and then bring them to another place they never been before, and then build up a whole country. You mean to tell me that one boatload of Europeans could come over here and decimate a whole